Can you very briefly define critical infrastructure for those of us who don't know? You mentioned the 16 sectors. What is critical infrastructure in terms of the essential services that they provide and who they are?
Yeah, so typically it's talked about in terms of products, services, or resources. Resources are kind of easy to describe, energy, water, healthcare, et cetera. Products and services sometimes come around like chemical treatment of that water, right, would be a service to the resource that you need. And then products, right, for manufacturing are all of those key components we rely on for our way of life. What I like to say is actually critical infrastructure underpins civil society. So maintaining our way of life today, maintaining healthy habits, right? Making sure that your retail stores have water is part of critical infrastructure, not just making sure that your toilet's flush, right? So everything today is more interconnected and interdependent than ever. So we do sometimes, like I said, break it down to lifeline sectors, but there's a lot more criticality to it. And there's also a lot of location-specific perspective to this, right? So a hospital in one city is not the same as a hospital in a rural county. So we have to take all of that into consideration when we talk about what is critical, and then typically how we think of like a blast radius for when you want to talk about how to recover from something being taken offline or taken away in terms of critical services. It really doesn't always depend on the most vulnerable target. Sometimes it depends on their capacity to recover, their backup plans, their restoration potential, how long they can or how quickly they can recover, or how long you might go without that service, which also depends on location, organization, ownership, frame of reference, etc.